Hello, I'm Dr. Glenn L. Thompson, Professor Emeritus at Asia Lutheran Seminary. One of the most important and festive occasions in most societies surround marriage, and this was the case in ancient Israel. Girls were thought to be old enough for marriage when they reached their teens, but often marriages were arranged much earlier. The main responsibility for choosing a marriage partner rested with the parents. Abraham arranged for a wife to be found for Isaac, and Isaac told his son Jacob where to find his wife. Sometimes the feelings of the children were also consulted, but not always. Rebekah was asked if she wished to go to marry Isaac, and Jacob himself selected the woman he wanted to marry from among his relatives. Esau made his parents angry by marrying against their wishes and taking heathens as his wife. The marriage agreement was finalized with a formal betrothal or engagement between the two people. Usually relatives or friends acted as go-betweens in the marriage arrangements. The husband normally had to pay the parents of the bride a price for taking her from her family. This was partly to acknowledge that the bride's family had lost her as a laborer, and partly to encourage a lasting relationship. The money would need to be repaid if the woman returned to her family. Jacob worked 7 years for each of his 2 wives. Deuteronomy 22 makes it clear that the betrothal was considered a final and decisive act. When a woman was betrothed, she belonged to her new husband just as though they had already been married. But the couple were not yet to live together or have sexual relationships. Betrothal involved a solemn oath and covenant. At times, a year or more might pass between the betrothal and the actual marriage. That a betrothal was considered a binding agreement to marry is seen from the story of Mary and Joseph. After Mary's betrothal to Joseph, but before their formal marriage ceremony, an angel announced to her that she would become pregnant and have a son who would be the Messiah. Normally, when a girl became pregnant outside of marriage, her family or her betrothed husband would take revenge upon the person who got her pregnant. He and the girl herself were often put to death. These kind of honor killings still take place today in some areas of the Middle East. So it's clear why the Bible praises Joseph as a just man. Instead of wishing to have Mary shamed and punished for becoming pregnant before she was married, he initially decided to divorce her quietly. This seemed an honorable solution, but when he learned the real circumstances behind her pregnancy, he was even braver and followed the Lord's instruction to keep the engagement intact and then wed Mary. We should make Joseph more of a role model today for the high value he placed on his betrothal and marriage vows.